Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabicoff, and we are back in the cellar this week for a special series visiting the vineyard. Cribb and I are visiting a new country. It is South Africa, and we are here with winemaker Michael Back from Backsberg Winery. Did I say that right?
You've got that.
I did.
Absolutely.
I got on my back. Okay. So, Michael, South Africa hasn't traditionally, at least in the minds of America, been wine country, or not until recently. But you're the third generation.
Yeah, I think the South African wine industry has been going for a long time. The South African wine industry, I think we see ourselves as being the crossroad between the New World and the Old World. We have a lot of European influence, but also kind of addressing changes in winemaking style and technology from the New World.
From the New World. All right, so the winery dates back to 1916 when your father...
My grandfather. Yeah, my grandfather was an immigrant from Lithuania, came to the country in 1902, and then he bought the property in 1916.
Okay. So what is unique about the vineyard, the land, the climate of South Africa that makes these wines so delicious?
Well, I think in general that the area in which we live in is probably the finest climate of the world. Certainly the finest climate to live in.
Perfect.
It's never...
You know, I think I mentioned to you, I've been there. The weather was exquisite.
No, the weather is fabulous.
And I have to say one other thing about South Africa. The air is the sweetest air I've ever breathed. Why? I mean, it's like purified, or maybe I'm just not used to air that beautiful.
I think one of the reasons is because in our area we have no mining, no heavy industry. It's largely an agricultural-based area. So yeah, the area is
so this pure place is a great place to grow grapes.
Yeah. So the environment is one of the finest in the world. And what kind of grapes are you growing on your vineyard?
We grow several different varieties, and because you can't grow everything in one place, we have our main property, then we have satellite vineyards in different locations. So we have, for example, Sauvignon Blanc at very near the coast. We have Pinot Noir in a very high location. So we try to address the location and tie it in with the varieties.
So what is unique about your winemaking? I mean, you have this beautiful climate. You're obviously maintaining the integrity of the grapes, just growing them. What is your special care with your winemaking?
I think that every winery has to develop their own philosophy and have to develop their own persona. And if people ask me what are we trying to do, then I think the answer is quite simple. We're trying to make wines which are seamless. So you should not be able to identify the different components. I'm not even really interested in talking to people about the varieties that are in the wine. I'm only interested, is the wine seamless? Does it offer you pleasure? And if it does, then I've done my job.
You've done your job. So please tell me, what does seamless mean?
Seamless means if you have the different components of the wine, which can be from tannins to sugar levels to the aromatic components, that they should all be in harmony. So they should sing.
Balance.
Yeah. So it should kind of sing to one note.
Okay. So your work is seamless, and you have selected some wines from this fabulous winemaking. What do we have?
Sure. Well, South Africa does a couple grape types that are a little bit new to the U.S. palate, but the first is a Chenin Blanc, and Chenin is a kind of a light, easy drinking white, kind of the entry white. It's got a nice round mouthfeel to it, a little bit of hints of honey to it. It's just a beautiful white wine.
It's the balance you were talking about.
Chenin Blanc is from essentially from the Loire area in France. And you can do many things with Chenin Blanc. You can make it into a very serious high-end wine, which is barrel fermented, and the one end, on the other end, you can make it into a more what we do, which is a lighter style, very fruit-driven wine. In our case, it also has a little bit of residual sugar because we use it as a entry to the Backsberg range of wines.
Okay, all right. What else? you selected
Sure.
for this portfolio?
Well, we've got on the white side. We'll just kind of stay there first and talk about it. We've done Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay.
Yes.
Sauvignon Blanc in what we found with the there's a couple different levels. John Martin Sauvignon Blanc, which is kind of the reserve. It's very, very bright, crisp, bright wine that's got some of that time in barrel, so it's real rich, luscious flavors. Then we're also doing a Sauvignon Blanc that is a little bit more towards the New Zealand style. I think New Zealand meaning that it's. I think of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc as like a grapefruit and
crisp,
very crisp, almost puckering, very very aromatic.
It's very aromatic, and it's a style which is very well understood. The Reserve Sauvignon Blanc is which we have a range which we just call in-house the black label range, because all the labels are black, and the idea behind these wines is that they should all have either a sense of place or a sense of person. So the Reserve Sauvignon Blanc is called John Martin because that was a man who worked for my father for close to 40 years. And it's really what's made this wine different is a combination. It's a blend of very cool climate Sauvignon Blanc from the coast and from Sauvignon Blanc grown on our own vineyards, which is a slightly warmer area.
Personal place. So this is reminiscent of this very special person in all of your lives.
Correct.
Okay, what would place be?
Place is for example, it's not here, but we do a Viognier which is called Hillside. So Hillside was the home of my grandparents. So the vineyard is on the hillside, but it's also dovetailed by the fact that that was the home of my grandparents.
So it's reminiscent of.
So I try to incorporate some history, some passion, some identity into those wines.
Well, I think you can feel, taste, smell when that kind of passion and devotion happens in the bottle.
Well, we're doing a lot. Backsberg is doing a lot of environmental projects and things to help out the environment. They're a Carbon Neutral Winery.
Whatever we do, is voluntary. There's no obligation to do the things that we do, but what we're trying to do is understand what the consequences are of our actions in the environment. And so about 6 or 7 years ago, we did a carbon emissions audit to understand how much CO2 as a greenhouse gas we are putting up into the atmosphere, and then to try to figure out how to reduce that on the one hand and how to offset it on the other hand. So if we put up 1 ton of CO2 into the atmosphere, we will offset 1 ton.
Mostly through a project of planting trees. It's something it's real. You can understand, and as Michael was telling me the other day, that each of those trees that they plant in these neighborhoods that don't have them offers just a little bit of shade.
It just changes the whole lifestyle, it changes the environment. It's a place for kids to play under, it's a place for kids to play in, and if you're in a really small, impoverished village, it provides shade, and which is kind of changes people's lives. We take shade just as something for granted. But
that's not always available to everybody. I think the beauty of what you're doing to offset is also not just in the moment, but it's something that goes on for decades. When you plant a tree, it's years and years, for generations. That's very nice to know.
So in addition to that, this new series was something I think that most great wine entrepreneurs, I call them vin entrepreneurs.
Okay,
entrepreneurs.
That's a good word. I like that word.
Are trying to do things with innovation as well. And
yes.
I know that Michael's really been on that for Backsberg, and this is a brand that's called Tread Lightly.
Okay.
And Tread Lightly, if you see the bottle, is just a little bit smaller. We called it
less paper.
Yeah, we call it the skinny bottle.
The skinny bottle. Okay.
So it's just a little bit skinnier.
Okay.
It's got the exact same amount of wine in it.
Really?
750 milliliters. but it's made out of a PET hard plastic,
I
and
get to
it
feel
is
this.
100% recyclable. So,
And pick it up and feel how light it is.
And oh my goodness.
so this
You
is
fooled me. I thought that was glass until I touched it.
it's as beautiful as glass.
And
but,
maintaining the integrity of the wine.
yeah.
Yes.
Totally maintaining the integrity of the wine. But now when we move wine around the world or within the country, we're only moving wine. We're not moving packaging.
You know, the packaging and of
So,
course the weight of it, and that's
So you have less, once again, it's driving down emissions.
Yeah. So pushing that, and then it also works for any occasion that you don't want to have glass at. So the Tread Lightly brand has a Sauvignon Blanc and a Merlot. So we are pretty excited about that as well.
Yes.
And now we can jump over to Shiraz.
I know.
So,
I'm so excited about the Shiraz. Okay, tell us about that.
The Pump House Shiraz is the sense of place in respect to the Shiraz is because it's next to the Pump House, which is the which is the
Might be more
core.
complicated than that.
No,
but
no,
okay,
not at all. But it's
Pump
the
House.
core of the it's the core and the center point of the farm, because out of here goes distribution of water, which is really the life of the farm. So it kind of seems to be
integral. I mean,
it's integral.
Yes.
It's so it kind of needed a place of its own too, and yeah.
but
So
the Shiraz is the grape that we traditionally think of in Australia, but here we are in South Africa. How would you describe it?
I think there's it's an integrated wine. There's the tannins are fairly soft. It's not overly wooded, and it has blackberry flavors.
Well, then we should taste this.
yes.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
the
Live.
yes,
Cheers.
the word elegance is what
Elegant? Okay, we can do elegant.
I love the fact that the Shiraz has got a smooth component to it. I think that that shines through where a number of it's almost like some of the more of the old world Syrah than it is some of the new world Shiraz that are a little bit so big and peppery and
So I'm understanding better what you mean by seamless.
Yeah.
And I've heard this talked about before in wine. I think this is an extraordinary example of it.
I think it's very easy to use the word seamless, but
know,
it's
I
not
understand.
but it's not necessarily easy to achieve.
I wouldn't think so.
And we can't claim to always achieve it. But it has to
But
be.
it's a goal.
It has to be the goal. It has to be the objective.
Okay, well, we're very happy that you came to America to visit us, and we're equally happy that we're going to be having some of your wine here. It's an exquisite wine. Do you want to say anything more about?
well, you know,
South Africa, you did.
the Pinotage is another thing that we're doing with Michael that we're really excited about.
What is that?
So Pinotage is unique to. It's a variety unique to South Africa. You get all kinds of people in the world and all kinds of professions, but one profession is called a plant breeder, and plant breeder will spend their lives trying to develop something new, whether it's a new apple tree or a new pear tree or a new type of vine. Or that's what they do, and they spend their lives. And out of tens and tens of thousands of trials and a huge amount of effort, maybe they find one. And Pinotage is an example of the success of a plant breeder's efforts, in that it's a cross between Pinot Noir and Cinsault. You know, the Pinotage is. Some people find it, it's quite, it's unusual. It has ketones and chemicals or components which give it a very unusual flavor.
But it's like a little bit of a sweetness to it.
There's a kind of a sweetness to it, and
He's been working hard on seamless to get that.
yeah, it's a very tricky variety to grow upon.
And what would you pair with Pinotage?
I don't know, really. I mean, a lot of Pinotage is sort of quaffing wine, where people will sit out on the veranda and...
You think of Pinot Noir has really, in this country, in the last couple of years, been a big sipping wine. It's been
on its own.
It's a red wine. It's a little lighter. It's not more the red fruits instead of the dark fruits.
Yeah.
So the Pinotage being half that grape type and half of the Cinsault, it ends up being on
It's
the
a
lighter end.
it's a light style wine, and it needs to be appreciated as a light style wine. And so on a hot summer's day, there's absolutely no reason not to chill it a little bit.
We got it from the horse's mouth there,
I did,
you know.
and we did.
But
Well,
the Pinotage is an interesting grape, and we've also got Merlot, and
Yeah.
I think that I tasted 2 of the Merlots from Backsberg this week, and as a person that usually doesn't love Merlot,
I know you don't.
I was pretty impressed. So
Okay.
we'll have to bring
You
one
have
of
to
those
bring
back.
back Merlot now with us.
I do.
Backsberg. Well, thank you very much. We
Thank you
appreciate
very much.
visiting with
Yeah.
you, and you're coming across the pond to
Yeah.
America. And we will be back in the cellar again next week.
Cheers.
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 Thanks, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers.